Have you ever been super excited to watch a show only to find out it's not available in your country? I know I have, and I took that personally. It's 2025. I refuse to let geography dictate my entertainment options. That's where a VPN comes in. A VPN, or virtual private network, such as private internet access, is like an online bodyguard who not only keeps unwanted grimy hands off of your data, but also knows all of the exclusive backdoor entrances to the coolest places. Let private internet access be your bodyguard and get access to areas of the internet that are normally off limits, like the hidden treasure trove of movie and TV options that are available through international versions of our normal streaming platforms, such as Netflix, Prime, or Hulu. For example, say you're in California, like me, and you're craving a binge session of Friends. You've signed into your Netflix subscription and you're all ready to watch, but alas, that show is not on the US version of Netflix. Enter your online bodyguard, private internet access. They simply slip you into the back door of the UK version of whatever streaming platform, where the shows that you want to watch are waiting to be binged. Geography limitations be damned. By clicking on our link in this video's description, you can get 83% off of your own internet bodyguard, private internet access. That's just $2.03 a month, plus you get 4 extra months completely free. To get started with your own internet personal bodyguard, go to piavpn.com/merctruecrime. That's piavpn.com/MERC-truecrime. At first glance, this video seems bizarre and confusing. It shows a man hiding in a hole covered with straw. Hay is tangled in his hair. He looks terrified, paralyzed with fear. Torches light up the surrounding area to reveal a dark enclosure dug up from the earth and surrounded by straw. But what's really happening here? Who is this man, and why was he hiding? Let's rewind. The man's name is Omar bin Omran. He went missing at just 17 years old. Previously, he had lived with his family in Algeria. The seventh of 9 children, he was known to be a patient and kind-hearted teen who was said to feel more at ease around kids and animals than around adults. His best friend was his loyal dog, always by his side. Omar lived in a busy, historic city where people walked most everywhere. Every morning, he would walk to his vocational school and come home by the evening. However, one such day he left home, telling his parents he was traveling to the nearest city of Jelfa for a vocational training program. This would be the last time they ever heard from him. The time period in which he went missing, roughly 1997 to 1998, was that of an almost cell phone-free society. With no direct communication nor social media to easily track somebody's whereabouts, the situation grew scarier every minute. The minutes turned to hours, and when Omar did not return the next day either, his family contacted the police. Unfortunately, at that time, Algeria was in the middle of a civil war, one that lasted from 1992 until 2002. During this time, tens of thousands of people were kidnapped or killed. Due to their vulnerable status, children and teenagers, like Omar, were frequent targets of this kidnapping. After months of searching, putting up posters, appearing on TV, and pleading the public for help, the family slowly lost hope. Some feared he might have been killed in the war, or may have been forced to join one of the armed factions. But his mother suspected another possibility. A neighbor friendly to the family, known as Abdil, 52, said that before Omar's disappearance, he had been, quote, a naughty child. He regularly skipped school, preferring to go out and tend to the animals with a local shepherd, who was 16 years his senior. The neighbor said that Omar and the shepherd had a, quote, close connection and spent the majority of their time together. Abdil recalls, quote, "The shepherd got attached to him." Omar's mother never stopped wondering if the shepherd knew something about her son's disappearance. She often asked him if he had seen or heard from her son. A relative later said that Omar's mother had a feeling he was at the shepherd's house. She even asked her own children to go over to search for their brother, but Omar's brothers and sisters dismissed their mother's theory. Eventually, the majority of Omar's family believed that their worst fear had become their reality. The only person who never gave up hope was his mother. Even on her deathbed years later, she begged her family, quote, "Please do not stop searching for Omar. I am sure he is still alive." His mother died in 2013 without ever knowing what happened to her son. The case would eventually go cold. Then, on May 12, 2024, everything changed when an anonymous post was made on the village's Facebook group saying, quote, "The man you have been looking for was at the shepherd's home," in a, quote, "sheepfold." They even shared Omar's full name and details to prove the validity of the post. Omar's family immediately called the police. When officers arrived, the shepherd calmly opened the door and insisted the accusations were just revenge from his brother. He said that he and his brother had been involved in a scuffle over an inheritance, which is why his brother shared a post accusing him of kidnapping Omar, an accusation which he insisted was not true. The shepherd even invited the police into his home to search. The house was messy, filled with straw and even sheep, but nothing else unusual was immediately obvious in regards to Omar's disappearance. However, the shepherd became uncomfortable when one officer neared a room that was filled to the brim with hay barrels. That, in and of itself, raised suspicions. They rustled through the hay to find a hidden trapdoor underneath. When they opened it, they discovered a shocking sight. Omar was there, alive, tied up, and unable to move or speak. The video that later went viral was filmed at this moment. After Omar was discovered, the 61-year-old shepherd, identified only by his initials in Algerian media as BA, tried to flee but was restrained and subsequently arrested. Omar, now 45 years old, was taken to the hospital by authorities in order to receive medical care. Incredibly, after 26 years of captivity, Omar was found relatively healthy. He was not malnourished, and he looked fairly normal, with trimmed hair and a beard. However, mentally, he was deeply traumatized. Doctors believed Omar was mostly free to move around the house, but was forced to hide in the hole whenever there was a risk of discovery. Omar later revealed that he sometimes saw his family members passing by outside the house through a window, but felt unable to call out to them. Every time he approached the door, he said an invisible force would stop him. He said he believed that BA had placed a black magic spell on him, trapping him mentally and emotionally. This statement led investigators to suggest that Omar may have been suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, a psychological condition in which captives develop emotional bonds with their captors over time. Some believe that the shepherd manipulated Omar's mind using fear and superstition, convincing the boy that he was cursed and could not escape without terrible consequences. Others believed that the captor, who was unmarried with no children, had groomed Omar since childhood and had held him for sexual purposes. Heartbreakingly, Omar was aware of his mother's death while he was still trapped, although it is unclear how exactly he found out. The family later determined that Omar's dog had known his whereabouts during the early days of his disappearance. For an entire month, the dog would leave the family home each day and make his way to the shepherd's property, roughly 200 meters away. There, he would sniff around the doors, barking and whining persistently outside the shepherd's house before returning home, visibly dejected. Tragically and mysteriously, a few weeks later, the dog was found dead on the family's doorstep, poisoned. Authorities now believe that the shepherd was responsible for poisoning him. As investigations continued, it was revealed that at least 8 people, identified only by their initials, were aware of the kidnapping situation. They have been detained by police and are accused of, quote, failing to notify the competent authorities. Police found evidence of occult rituals in the shepherd's home, suggesting that he may have believed in or practiced black magic. According to the neighbors, B.A. was an active member of the village's society, both working for the local council and caring for his livestock. He attended the mosque regularly and even exchanged pleasantries with Omar's family when they came across each other. One of Omar's relatives told reporters after the rescue, quote, we'd meet at the market and he'd chat to me about life back in the day. You would never have suspected he was a big criminal. In Algeria, kidnapping can carry a 5 to 15-year prison sentence, but in serious cases like this, it could result in the death penalty, usually by firing squad. While the shepherd awaits trial in a jail cell, the most recent update of Omar's well-being came from his younger cousin, who responded to questions on Instagram and posted a new photo of Omar. The cousin writes, quote, everything has changed for him. He found another generation. He found me, taller than him. She added that Omar was learning how to use a phone and was adapting to his new life. However, Omar is not able to tell his family what happened to him over the past 3 decades. His cousin wrote, quote, even we do not have the information. We talked to him about the issue, but his soul does not allow him to think about it again. Omar now walks free, while his captor, the shepherd, is in confinement. On a seemingly ordinary day in March of 1972, Sheila Fox left her modest, terraced home on Golson Road in Coventry in the UK and never returned. At just 16 years old, Sheila had simply vanished from her working class, tightly knit neighborhood, leaving her family consumed by worry and confusion. Born as Sheila Fox on February 26, 1956, she was the first of Chris and Anne Fox's children to be born in England. Her 3 older siblings, John, Chris Jr., and Bridget, had all been born in County Wexford, Ireland, before the family settled in the Midlands after World War II. Her father, a bricklayer, had moved to Coventry to help rebuild the bomb-ravaged city. In order to fit in, Sheila, whose name ended with the suffix LAGH, later anglicized the spelling of her name to one more common of the UK, spelled SHEILA, showing a strong desire to be accepted. Like many teens of the era, Sheila was expected to leave school at age 16. However, she never got the opportunity to finish out her final school months, disappearing just days after her 16th birthday. Her parents, fearing the worst, reported her missing to West Midlands Police and supplied only a single black and white photograph of her from a recent family holiday. The circumstances of her mysterious departure remained a mystery for decades, though speculation among extended family centered around a romantic relationship with an older man, rumored to be, quote, the man from Prue, a colloquial reference to an insurance salesman from Prudential, popularized at the time in advertising and culture. With no leads, the case would eventually go cold. Then, in late December 2024, West Midlands Police, conducting a cold case review, rediscovered the photograph originally submitted by Sheila's family in 1972. Cold case detectives shared the blurry black and white image of the teenager online and appealed to the media as part of a renewed public search for answers. Remarkably, within hours of publishing the photo, they began receiving credible information from the public. Soon after, in a shocking turn of events, authorities located Sheila Fox, alive, well, and living under her married name in Hertfordshire. closing one of their longest-running missing persons investigations in the history of the city. It was found that Sheila had not disappeared into darkness nor tragedy, but had rather slipped into a new life just 80 miles away. By July of 1973, just 16 months after vanishing, she gave birth to her only child, a son named Robert. His birth certificate listed the father as one John Foster, a barman from Enfield, North London. Sheila had taken on that surname, Foster, suggesting that she and John had been married, although their relationship would not last. In the 1980s, Sheila tried to reconnect with her family, but by then her parents and 3 siblings had immigrated to Delta, British Columbia, Canada in 1976, likely seeking a new start after their daughter's tragic disappearance. Whether Sheila ever succeeded in fully restoring contact remains unclear. Kevin Fox, her cousin, recalls, quote, "We all thought her parents would have informed the police that she'd been found, but who knows? Maybe they did and the message got lost." By 1983, Sheila had remarried, this time to Jack Thorpe, a divorced father of 2 and a chauffeur. The couple lived in northwest London and later moved to Cricklewood. In 2015, Sheila, along with her new husband, purchased a flat in Watford, where they still reside to this day. Investigators say it is clear that Sheila maintained a low profile intentionally, never seeking to correct the record of her missing status, nor reaching out to police herself. Investigators have offered no details as to why Sheila had disappeared or why she never contacted law enforcement. When approached for comment by the Daily Mail, Sheila declined to elaborate, saying, quote, "It all happened a long time ago. I've moved on. It's been a misunderstanding." However, Sheila's recent Facebook posts hint at a mindset of closure and forgiveness, including one that read, quote, "You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Forgive yourself and move forward." Sheila later said, quote, "Life doesn't allow for us to go back and fix what we have done wrong in the past, but it does allow for us to live each day better than our last." Despite decades of distance, Sheila appears to have rebuilt some of her family ties. Media reports note that it is important to distinguish this case from a different and much older mystery. Another Sheila Fox, this one just 6 years old, vanished in 1944 in Farnworth, near Bolton, Lancashire, in the UK. On the afternoon of August 18th in 1944, 6-year-old Sheila Fox vanished without a trace. Last seen leaving school at around 4 p.m., presumably on her way home, Sheila never arrived. Witnesses reported seeing her with a man outside of a bakery. Some accounts said that they were walking together. Others described Sheila sitting on the upturned crossbars of a black bicycle he was riding. When questioned at the time, Sheila allegedly told friends, quote, "I'm going with him." Given her shy nature, her parents say, they believe she must have known the man, quote, very well. A police description of the man circulated shortly thereafter. He was aged between 25 and 30 years old, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, with a long face and sharp features. It was noted that he had a fresh complexion, dark hair, and a pointed chin. He was described as clean-shaven and well-dressed, wearing a dark suit and tie, or in some reports, a navy blue suit with a blue and red tie. On August 21st, 1944, the Manchester Evening News reported Sheila as officially missing, describing her as a fair-haired girl with a pink ribbon, wearing a blue flowered frock, green coat, brown stockings, and black shoes. By August 23rd, reports emerged that a man matching the suspect's description was seen with a girl matching Sheila's description heading from Four Lanes End down Newbrook Road toward Atherton. The police were eager to identify and question this individual. However, despite extensive efforts, such as door-to-door inquiries, organized searches by police and volunteers, and with help from the press, no trace of Sheila nor any of her clothing was ever found. By September 6th, investigators had focused their attention on Newbrook Road in Atherton, where the man had been seen riding his bike near Atherton Parish Church, heading toward Lee. In 1948, her disappearance was linked to a, quote, tall, thin man wanted for the stabbing of 2 other children, but the connection yielded nothing. Over the years, hope faded. Neighbors, once optimistic that Sheila was alive, later accepted the more probable outcome. She had likely been murdered. And so, for nearly 80 years, the name Sheila Fox is synonymous with mystery, tragedy, and the loss of childhood innocence, which comes in many forms. If you like what we do and want to see more, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much to our patrons. If you would like to support this channel, you can visit the link in our bio below.